Hi, I'm Jacqui Tricarico, Senior Correspondent for One-on-One, and joining us now to round out our Women Business Leaders special is Aiysha Johnson, the CEO and Executive Director of the New Jersey Society of Certified Public Accountants. So great to have you with us, AJ.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
So, we're taking this whole show to really talk about women who've made it to the C-suite. Describe for us your journey to the C-suite and some of the obstacles you had to overcome.
Sure. So the journey to the C-suite, I like to tell people, is exactly that. It's a journey. So really, my background, my experience, I learned every aspect of an association. How does an association run? How do we best support our members? I started out healthcare specific. So I was in a policy analyst role, and then I moved into management, supporting our members across various areas. So eventually I became involved in general management, policy, education, meetings, sponsorship partnerships. And then I also was able to work in global management at a global advisory services global advisory services association serving independent CPA firms and advisors. So that's been the progression prior to joining NJCPA as the CEO and Executive Director. One thing that I would say about that is that it's important to just build on your experience so that you're ready for the opportunity.
So talk about that experience as a woman and a person of color. Did you feel certain barriers along the way that you really had to overcome?
I would say that being a woman and also a woman of color, that sometimes you will be the only one in the room. Maybe you're one of few in the room, and to not let that intimidate you, to lead with confidence because you know that you're there for a reason and you have unique perspective to offer. So that's one of the areas of advice that I would give to women looking to build their careers, is not to worry about being the only one in the room. Of course, I am a huge advocate for inclusion, so I think that's very important. And my goal is to really inspire other women when they see me and to make myself accessible.
You said confidence, but I know something else that you've talked about is leaning into your intuition. What has that meant for you along your career journey?
Well, it's definitely helped me with decision making, to stay calm when faced with challenges and to look at myself, to reflect and to rely on that intuition because I do have experience and it may not be the same situation, but assess how am I feeling? What's the impact to others? And to really take a step back and not rush into a decision just because there may be some unfamiliar situation that crops up. And I think that's really important, to stay level-headed, and that's part of the process.
And I know mentorship has been really important to you. Why have you made that a personal priority to make sure you're mentoring others and essentially passing the torch?
I think it's extremely important. I just mentioned it's important to be accessible. So with that, I know that our presence, being in the C-suite as a woman, can have positive impact if I'm able to communicate my story, talk to others who may be interested in a similar journey or just looking for the next opportunity. And if I don't make myself accessible or available, then you can't really imagine what you don't see. So that's why I like to take the time to mentor. And I know how important it's been for me. And I haven't just been mentored by women in my career. I've also been mentored by men and those who advocate for women. So I think it's really important to just surround yourself with the right support system, get information, and build your network as well as your key strengths.
So often, I know this as a mom, we hear about this work-life balance. And sometimes I laugh at that word balance because for me personally, some days it's just not balanced. You have to put a little bit time into one part of your life than the other. What do you have? What kind of advice do you have for women who are, leaders in their organization or their companies, but also, trying to do it all at home?
Yeah, so I agree with you. I don't really use the terminology work-life balance, at least not for myself, because of what you just stated. And I think it's very hard, if you're trying to find the exact balance. I think that what happens is on a day-to-day basis or a week-to-week basis, we may find some opportunities to reset. So I like that, like finding ways to reset, take a pause so that you can refresh. It may not be a long vacation or anything like that, but what do you like to do? Can you go out and take a 15-minute walk? Anything that will help you to just reset a bit during your day, I think is more important than trying to aspire to this place of balance, which varies for each of us.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Finally, AJ, for you, what has been the most important lesson you've learned being a leader?
That's a great question. I've learned a lot of lessons, and I think that with leadership, probably the biggest lesson is to be inclusive, to bring others and lift others up, not just yourself. It requires an entire team effort. I happen to have the privilege to be able to serve the profession, to be in my role, to be surrounded by many smart and talented staff and members. And that's what keeps me going on a day-to-day basis. So for me, lessons learned, I would say be a voice, share your perspective, don't be afraid. Don't wait for folks to ask you a question. Share, because we all have very unique opportunities and experiences that would allow us to be a voice in the room. And so I really like to hear from my team. They know that. Like to hear from all levels of my team. And I would just say, be the CEO of your life.
Well, AJ, thank you for being a voice on our program as we celebrate women business leaders in our state. We really appreciate you joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. For Steve Adubato and myself, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato is a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation. Funding has been provided by NJ Best, New Jersey's 529 College Savings Plan, Seton Hall University, Hackensack Meridian Health, Valley Bank, New Jersey Board of Public Utilities, PSEG Foundation, Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, the Russell Berry Foundation, and by the Northward Center. Promotional support provided by ROINJ and by New Jersey Globe.
Great drive fuels the leaders of tomorrow and today. Great vision paves the way for a brighter future. Great ambition goes places, moving onward and upward. Great empathy finds strength in kindness and in each other, working together to create something bigger than they ever imagined. Great minds can change the world, and great minds start at Seton Hall.